Hey everyone, Connie here, and today we are reacting to My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 4. Sorry this is late. As you know, this past Saturday I had a Did the focus just change? Anyways, I had an International Tabletop Day gaming party at my friend's house that I went to, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it so much. And then I just hadn't been able to get to it yesterday. But we're here now. So I'm ready to get to this. So last time, we had the training in the forest continue, but at the end, the villains started to make their move. The newest members of the League of Villains, which include Dabi and Himiko Toga, started to attack. And this is not good because this entire training thing was supposed to be secret. It was supposed to be hidden away so that the villains didn't know. So the fact that the villains do know raises questions, and there's only a few things I can think of that really make sense here. And I'm gonna be honest here. One of them I had already been thinking of, but I was spoiled on what apparently is happening. And I might be wrong on this. What I read, I might have misunderstood, or I might just, it might be wrong for all I know. But first off, my theories after last week, I don't think I talked about them much. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I don't think I talked about them much after last week's episode, but my theories were that something had to have clued the villains in, that there had to be something that happened that would make them be able to know that they were there. One theory that I was thinking of was that maybe the villains had someone on their team who could track others. Someone who could, like, connect to a certain person and be able to find them after that. In which case, I would think it'd have to be one of the villains who were there during the events of the attack on the school in Season 1. Because if they weren't there at that point, I don't really think there had been any other chance for any of the villains to come in contact with the heroes. At least not that we've seen. The students, I mean. Unless it was in contact with Aizawa or one of the cats, whatever their name was, I don't remember. That's the only thing I could think of. The other thing I was thinking of, which I think has been confirmed, is that maybe there's a traitor. Because I was thinking, like, okay, how did the villains find them? What if maybe someone in the group, whether a student or even one of the pussycats, or even Coda, maybe. What if one of them was actually a traitor and actually had somehow gotten the location out to the bad guys? And I was trying to think, like, who could do that, though? Coda, we don't know if he has a quirk yet, and if he does, what his quirk is. So there's always that possibility. We might have gotten a hint at it before with seeing the like giant fist like crater in the rock by where he was talking to Izuku and all, but we don't actually know if that was from him. We actually are only assuming at this point. And I know those of you who have read the manga and all know a lot more about this than me, but still. And I was thinking, okay, so could one of the students do it? And then I thought, like, what about Jiro? And I'm like, I don't want to think Jiro would be a traitor or anything, but her ability allows her to not only hear things distances away by plugging into like objects and all, but she can also expel sound waves from her body. What if she can actually control that to a better degree than we know? Because we've seen her like blast them out like sound waves before as like an aggressive attack, but what if she can actually send them out at such a low frequency that people normally can't hear it, and then there's someone on the villain's side who is able to hear it or is able to like feel it somehow? I don't know. Otherwise, I really have no idea none of the Pussycats I don't think really would have anything that would be really useful for that. I just don't know overall. But I did see something on Twitter, and it was completely accidental. Shush up. I wasn't meaning to look anything up or anything, but it's like I saw something, and it was like in big bold font, so I didn't even realize what it was until after I had read it. And it's like, and it was a big thing. It was like I think it was for a video or something someone posted, but it was like, who is the traitor of UA High? And at the bottom, it showed a picture from episode 3. But it was like, well, okay, it was from the events of episode 3, but it was from the manga. So I had to assume. So that made me assume. It's like, okay, maybe that it had made me assume. It's like, okay, the traitor. So that and it's showing this picture. It has to do with this event, and it makes sense. I mean, it does make sense. And I don't know details or anything. I don't know how they would figure out about the traitor or anything really. I don't know any of these details or anything. I just know apparently that does seem to be at least the common. I would assume at least the common what's the word, theory right now, that they were betrayed by someone. Um, I don't know how accurate this is though. I don't know if this is actually like, okay, a traitor has been confirmed, but we don't know who it is yet or whatnot. I don't know. I do not know, but maybe we'll find out and we'll see where it goes from here. I have heard this episode is good though. I don't know anything else about it. I don't know like what happens. I don't know any of the battles that take place. Though I do really want to see Himiko Toga in action. I've been wanting to see what she can do, and I want to see more of Dabi, and I want to find out what his power is. It's some kind of fire-based power from what we saw at the end of the last episode, but I want details, you know? Either way, thank you for listening to me ramble for so long about all of this, but we should get on with this now. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers for the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you with the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I had my doubts about this. I had my doubts about bringing in this giant, huge storyline this early on. I had my doubts about introducing all these new villains and having them attack our heroes, our students, starting in only episode 3 and going forward. I felt it was too quick. I felt that that the payoff to that initial attack in last episode would not be able to live up to the hype that I feel it should have. But every fucking time, Studio Bones proves me wrong. My Hero Academia is on the fast track to beating out Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is my favorite anime of all time. It is. The only thing that has kept it from being higher than it has been already is Mineta. I hate Mineta that much, and I'm not going to go over that all again. I've ranted well enough on that in the past, but... But with what they're doing here, they might surpass that even despite Mineta. Even despite the fact that Mineta is such an absolute horrifying scum. They might surpass that because of how just amazing and phenomenal this show is otherwise. And it doesn't matter to me how much, how accurate this has been to the manga. Although from what I've heard, it has been really accurate and really faithful. That doesn't matter to me though. What the manga did and whether or not it did it even better or not as good as the anime, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how the anime portrays these stories. I judge the anime on its own merits, and I feel like that's the only way to do it. I don't feel like you should judge anything on its source material. That goes for movies like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. It goes for adaptations like the Netflix adaptation of Death Note. It goes for anime that are based on manga or light novels. You should never judge it based on the source material, but on its own merits. And My Hero Academia continues to shine on its own merits. It doesn't matter where it came from. It doesn't matter what its source material did right or wrong or how faithful it is. Because the anime itself, on its own merits, with its storytelling, its characters, its emotions, its depth and intrigue, its phenomenal creativity with the amounts and types of quirks we've seen, and just the overall just quality of it in everything, every single part. The voice acting, the writing, the directing, the animation, the art style, the soundtrack, everything is so phenomenal. And you saw at the end of that reaction, you saw me tearing up. Like I saw I was looking at myself on the screen and I saw a tear fall, at least one. Um, and between stopping that recording and recording these afterthoughts, I had to like I had to rub my eyes. I had to try and wipe away the remainders of the tears and everything because I was so filled with emotion. That ending was so powerful. And I kind of knew it was coming. I could kind of tell that Izuku was going to be the one to turn around Koda's worldview on heroes and, well, superpowered beings in general. Um, I just felt that was really obvious, but I was still invested in it because I didn't know how it was going to be done, when it was going to be done, or the circumstances and situations behind it. And to see it done in this way was perfection. We have Kota being confronted by the villain who killed his parents. I don't think we got his name, but we probably did. And I don't think he's actually related to Bakugo like I was talking about during the reaction. I think that was just, oh, he kind of looks like Bakugo, so that thought crossed my mind for a second. Um, but, so he's attacking Koda, and of course Izuku comes to save the day. And at first, Koda's just scared because he's a kid. He's freaked out because he knows who this villain is, and he knows what he can do, and he knows that this guy killed his parents, so he's freaked out. Of course he is. Um, but Deku starts fighting and risking his life and breaking his arm and using that broken arm to continue fighting, um, despite everything, and it's completely shattering Koda's worldview. He is seeing a hero in action, not just in action, but in action for the express purpose of saving him. That's what's different about it. That's what's a big deal. Because I'm sure Code has seen heroes in action before. I mean, Mandalay is there. Mandalay's his aunt, right? And he's probably seen the Pussycats in general in action. He's probably seen multiple heroes here and there, fighting villains and stuff. But it hasn't had that personal connection to him. This fight here has the personal connection to him. Not only is this the villain that killed his parents, but then he has this hero who he'd been yelling at and insulting and everything for like what, a couple days now. So to have someone fighting for him who after he had done all that, and not just fighting for him but risking his life and destroying his body because of it, that would affect anyone. I feel that got to Koda, and it made him realize that, and it made him think back to what Mandalay told him. Like, you may not get it now, but one of these days, you're gonna be saved by a hero, and you're going to understand what it means to be a hero and why heroes are not to be hated or feared. And that ending line, my hero, that got the tears flowing because it was so beautiful. It was so amazing to see Koda's worldview shatter like glass right at that moment. Like, if you've ever watched pro wrestling, you know, like when Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, his entrance begins with the sound of breaking glass. And it's just like that instantaneous moment. Everyone knows what that means. Everyone knows what that sound is. And it's the same thing here. You could see the exact moment his worldview shattered, just like a pane of glass. You saw the exact moment, and you knew exactly what that meant. You knew that that meant that Izuku had just become a hero for this young boy. That Izuku had just changed the entire outlook that this kid has towards heroes, and even villains as well. That he had made him understand, without even trying to, just by being a hero, just by the idea of self-sacrifice alone. I've mentioned it before, I'll keep mentioning it. I love the concept of self-sacrifice. I love seeing characters be willing to sacrifice their health, their body, and even their lives for others. In my opinion, there is no greater showing of love, no greater showing of humanity than self-sacrifice. It means more than anything else you could ever do. And so, it's the most powerful thing someone can do. And to see Izuku doing it for him, against the guy, again, who killed his parents. Koda could not stubbornly hold on to that anger anymore. Oh, it was so fucking good. Unfortunately, we didn't see much of Dabi or any of Himiko Toga this episode. We saw a little bit of Dabi. We saw him like brutally attack Aizawa when Aizawa came onto the scene. We don't even know if Aizawa was okay or not. We didn't see the aftermath of that. We met Spinner, another one of the villains, who's the lizard-faced guy. He seems interesting enough, I guess. And then there was the other guy, I cannot remember his name right now, but the big-lip dude who kind of reminds me of Yasopp from One Piece, Usopp's father, just in his design. And we saw a little bit of some other stuff in this episode, but let's be honest, everything about this episode was about Izuku and Koda. That was the focus, and that's why we were seeing that recap at the beginning, the specifics of that recap. Because this was a big moment in this series, I feel. And it's not even just because of Izuku going, 1,000% or 100,000% or something like that. It wasn't just him pushing past his initial limits. That was awesome. That was badass. That was so freaking cool. But that's not even the big deal with this episode. The big deal with this episode is Izuku, in my opinion, finally, truly becoming a hero. Because Izuku before this, in my eyes, was still a hero in training. He still had his faults, he still had his issues, and yes, he's embodied self-sacrifice before. This isn't the first time. I mean, heck, the moment that inspired All Might to take him under his wing in episode 2. That was a big moment of self-sacrifice. He risked his life to try and save Bakugo there. And again, it's not the only time he's done this kind of thing. And it won't be the last. But this moment, the reason why it put such a focus on Koda calling Izuku his hero was because, in my eyes at least, it was symbolism of Izuku truly becoming the hero he's meant to be. Now, he's still going to have faults. He's still going to have problems. He's still going to have some issues here and there. He's not perfect yet. and he probably never will be, to be honest. I mean, Aizawa still has some troubles from time to time, as we've seen. Not only with Dabi in this episode, but in season one, when Shigaraki attacked him and really badly hurt him. um, so even Aizawa, a pro hero who's very skilled, even has these issues, of course. So we're not saying that Izuku's going to be perfect from now on, but this was him not only truly stepping up and 100% embodying what it means to be a hero, but this was the moment where it wasn't just for him. It wasn't for someone he really even knew. And they made a focus of that too. Because, like, you don't know this story. You don't know all of what happened. You don't know all of this. And it's right. Izuku doesn't. He only knows bits and pieces of the story. He only knows the bare basics. He's not heavily invested in it. He's not, like... It's not, like, personally affecting for him. No. But that doesn't matter to him. He acted anyways and gave over 100%. He pushed his body past its initial limits. For this kid he barely even knows. That is what being a hero means. To do not only everything you can, but to push yourself to do what you have never been able to do before. To push yourself past your limits. To push yourself harder than ever in order to help others with no other reason. With no alternative motivators. To do all of that for the sole purpose of saving someone else is the epitome of heroism. And in that moment, he became a hero. Not only to Koda, but just in general. Like, again, before that, he was a hero in training, and he's still going to be in training. He's still in school. But now he is a full-fledged hero in my eyes. And I cannot see it any other way. Now, this is clearly, of course, not even the end. And even after this, with Izuku supposedly having defeated this bad guy, this isn't going to be the end of things, because there's still all these other villains. There's still going to be a lot going on. We still haven't seen Himiko Toga do much of anything. Last we saw, she had been about to go after Ochiko and Sue. And, I mean, Ochiko and Sue both are really popular with the fandom. They're not going to... Pardon? They're not going to leave that off. They're not going to ignore that. Not with two hugely popular characters. They're not going to skip over that either. No. They just took an episode and focused on something really big and really huge, and I appreciate that. So they'll probably get to Sue and Ochiko either fighting Himiko or running away from her next episode. Or her chasing them down or something. I don't know. She seems like the type who would chase down her opponents. Or I guess her victims, you could put it. But then there's one last part I want to discuss here, and that is Tetsu Tetsu. Tetsu mentioned how Class A is just one step above them at all times, and he finally figured out why. And as he explained to his classmates, it's because they have that experience that Class B doesn't. They have had these clashes with villains before that Class B has not had. And so Tetsu realized that being a hero, you can't just run. A hero will fight the villains. A hero will protect others. And Tetsu, he's saying he's going to stay and fight. He's going to do what he can. That is good. I like that. Not only because I've just liked Tetsu even before, but that's actually development for him, for a character who's basically a supporting cast member here. He's not a major player in this. Even among Class B, he's only kind of like a secondary support. I mean, heck, I'd say Kendo and Monoma are bigger characters than him. But right here, he got some development and some meaningful one development too. Because before this, he was just seen as kind of a muscle-headed, kind of angry, almost not really a jerk, but a muscle-headed, an angry musclehead. Let's just put it that way. He kind of came off as this angry musclehead who just like flaunted his power and like to show off and stuff. Kind of like Hiroshima. I mean, obviously. um, and you know that the fact that he's basically another Kirishima is definitely parodying the idea of carbon copy characters. But the point is that he showed this development by learning to understand what it means to be a hero a lot more from his experience going against and working with Class A. His experiences with Class A have allowed him to learn what it means to truly be a hero, and that's awesome. That shows development for him, and it just grows the overall feeling of the show. So yeah, this episode was just outright phenomenal. Best episode of the season yet, and one of the best of the show, without even a second's doubt. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I'm just really excited for it. I'm hoping we get some Himiko next week, because I'm still really, really excited to see what she can do. I don't know, just something about her character design alone and the little bits we've seen of her personality and stuff. She's my kind of villain. She's the kind of villain I get a kick out of. She reminds me of she makes me think of a more, like, psychotic Harley Quinn. She's silly, she's funny, she's cutesy. Harley Quinn was more smart about it and more of the love-struck type of character archetype. Himiko seems more like a just general psychopath. But she still reminds me of Harley in a way, and I like that. Because Harley Quinn's always been one of my favorite comic book characters, period. So it's a big compliment for me to compare her to that, even if they're not really that much alike. Again, it's just a simple comparison just based off of the little bit I've seen of her so far. Plus, I just love her design, if I'm being honest. I love Dobby too. The others I'm not too sold on yet, though. This muscle guy I do like, though. He's creepy as hell, and I like creepy as hell villains, so yeah, there's just so much to like with this right now. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode. What did you think of the fight between Izuku and this muscle villain? What did you think of Dabi getting the one-up on Aizawa? And where do you think this is going to go in the future? And as always, if you know anything about where this is going to go, if you know any spoilers from the manga, please do not tell me. I wish to remain spoiler-free, and for the sake of my viewers who also are anime only, I wish for my comment section below to also remain spoiler-free. So, thank you for understanding. But any other thoughts on like what we have here is fine. And even if you want to say like, oh, things are going to get really good soon, that's completely fine too. Just don't give any details or anything. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in today. And for now, I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all